Growing a business is not, well, let's put it this way, it's not for the faint of heart. And there are days when I just want to throw in the towel and get a freaking job. And I bet a lot of you feel that way too. You can't serve from an empty cup. You can't be going along running on empty. There's this constant push, push, push to get things done, which is a very masculine way of being. But don't do it at the expense of your feminine side. So I want to invite you to ask yourself a good question right now. What parts of your business are stealing your energy? Why you're letting that happen? You're allowed to be messy. You're allowed to stop, to rewrite. You are allowed to design your life your way. I am Gloria Grace Rand, founder of the Love Method and author of the #1 Amazon bestseller, Live, Love, Engage: How to Stop Doubting Yourself and Start Being Yourself. In this podcast, we share practical advice from a spiritual perspective on how to live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically, so you can create a life and business with more impact, influence, and income. Welcome to Live, Love, Engage. Namaste. Midlife is thought of as this great time for reinvention. But if you think that it's going to happen in a way that's just, neat and clean, forget about it, as they say. It's really, instead, it can be. I mean, if it happens that way for you, great. But I would say for a lot of people, especially women over 50, it is, or it can be, shall we say, messy and frustrating. And that's because we are emotional beings. And as I'm going to reveal today, that's actually our superpower. But first, I do want to welcome you to Live, Love, Engage, especially if this is your first time. If you're not familiar with me, I am Gloria Grace. I'm a confidence catalyst and self-love advocate, and I empower women over 50, especially mission-driven women over 50, to boldly live life on their terms. And I do that through my love method and energy healing. And I'm going to pause for one quick second because I got a cough. There we go. I muted myself. At least you wouldn't have to hear that. Oh, goodness. So, yeah. What are we talking about here today? Well, I tell you, some days growing a business is not, well, let's put it this way. It's not for the faint of heart. And there are days when I just want to throw in the towel and get a freaking job. And I bet a lot of you feel that way too. And it's not always because of, well, sometimes, let me rephrase that. Sometimes it's because you're trying to do everything on your own, and that can be frustrating. And sometimes it can be when you partner with someone and it doesn't work out like you planned. I'm not sure I've ever shared this on the podcast before, but a few years ago, I was approached by someone that I had known through networking circles in my local area. And I was doing some Facebook videos at the time, and she really connected with them. And she said, we need to talk and maybe see if there's some way that we might be able to partner together and do something together. And I thought that was a great idea because, being an entrepreneur can be a lonely business, especially when you're, I was in the middle of reinventing myself then because I was starting to talk more about spirituality and love when previously when this woman first knew me, I was all about online marketing. That was my primary focus of my business. But now I was pivoting because I'd gone through my own spiritual journey, and I wanted to share that with others and empower others to really love themselves, to empower you to love yourself. And that's still what I'm about right now. So what happened was we got together and we started meeting regularly, and we started planning events, and we started recording a bunch of videos that we were sharing online, and things were cruising along. We were making plans to do some events uh, that would promote both of our businesses. We were aligned in that we both wanted to help people, but we came at it from different directions. And then not really one day, but she wound up getting involved let me back up. We created a Facebook group. We created a free Facebook group, and we were growing it, slowly, and it was a place for us to share our videos and to help to enlighten and empower women. But she got involved in another challenge, another Facebook group, and she wound up inviting a whole slew of people into this group, and it like blew up overnight. And I felt really uncomfortable about it because I wasn't sure that this was the way this wasn't really how we had planned to do things, and it was changing things. And anyway, to make a long story short, and I'm not telling this probably as effectively as I can, I just decided that this wasn't going to work out. This really, our partnership wasn't going to work out because she was, that's what it was. Now that I think about it, it's been a while now, but I think that's what it was. It was she unilaterally just decided to invite all these people into the group without telling me about it first. And that hurt my feelings because we're supposed to be this partnership. And rookie mistake, we did not set up a partnership agreement beforehand. So if you are going to do something like that, if you are going to partner with someone, it's really a good idea to get something formalized, or at least semi-formal. Have something written down that you can both say, okay, this is what I'm going to do for our partnership. This is what you're going to do. This is what we're going to do together. Just have some sort of agreement. And we were very loosey-goosey about that. And we didn't formalize anything. And we didn't even, frankly, it was so informal that it was nothing even written down on paper. It's not like we had to, I'm not necessarily saying you have to go to a lawyer to draw up papers, which you may or may not have to do. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to advise you that. I will advise you to do something, to formalize it somehow so that you don't have a lot of regret later from miscommunication. And that's what I felt we had. We had a really big miscommunication, and then she's wanting to take it in a different direction than what I thought we originally wanted to do. And so I said, you know what? God bless you. You know what? You go ahead and even take the Facebook group. I gave it to her, even though I had actually originally started it. Not that I recall. Yes, I had actually started the group myself, and then I brought her in as an admin. So I just said, you know what? Go for it. And I remember that night, I was so upset about it. I wound up writing a poem. It just kind of spilled out of me with all of my hurt and pain of that. But it was a good lesson. It was a good lesson for me because now I know the next time I get involved in a partnership, I'm going to make things more formal so that we know what we're supposed to do. So, reinventing ourselves is it's not easy. It's not always easy. And even growing your business is not easy. And y- it's like the roller coasters. My daughter is a roller coaster fanatic and just makes sure that every year she gets at least one roller coaster ridden somewhere in the world. But roller coasters have a lot of ups and downs, okay? And that's how our lives can be like at times. It's certainly how our businesses can be like, and it's certainly how this whole idea of reinvention can be. So, what do we do about that? Well, this is my point today, is that I want you to honor honor yourself, honor your feelings, honor your rhythm, your natural rhythm for how you go about life. Because now again, if you're over 50, okay, we're gonna get real here. So as women, we have something called the wonderful menstrual cycle that works until we hit menopause, and then it gets out of whack for a little while, and then eventually we don't have to worry about menstruation anymore. Yay! And now I didn't do any research on this, but I'm just going to go with my instinct, which is that even though our bodies might not be going through that process anymore, I think we still have natural rhythms. I think even though it's not maybe physically, but I think it can still affect us emotionally. And frankly, I feel a lot of sometimes my rhythm is affected by the lunar cycles. Is it the moon, and is it a new moon or is it a full moon? And I know there's people who work in hospitals who swear that when it is a full moon, the emergency room is a lot more full than at any other time of the month. So take that for what it's worth. You can believe that or not, but my point is that it's important to respect your own natural body in and your own emotional cycles, your own physical cycles, your rhythm, and then have your business run based on that. So, what does that look like? It means, let's just go with a daily schedule, for instance. Are you a morning person or are you an evening person? So, if you are very creative and productive in the morning, then you schedule things that need to be done for your business, and you do those things. Maybe you make a list and you check them off and get all those things done early in the morning, and that then the afternoon you can do things that aren't quite requiring all of that brain power. Maybe or vice versa. Maybe you're much more creative, let's say, in the afternoon. And so maybe the morning you deal with things like invoices or sending emails or, the nitty-gritty stuff that's not so sexy. But then in the afternoon, you're like, this is when I'm going to write my social media content, or this is when I'm going to talk to my VA about these are my ideas for social media posts and images that they can create. So it's not necessarily even about what you're doing yourself, but honoring that. And then, so that's like on a daily basis. But then also look at, again, like say the monthly cycle of how you are in your business. Are there, times where you want to be able to make sure that, certain things get done at the first of the month and then other things get done at the end of the month? And also making sure that you get enough rest along the way as well. It's so very important. I know I've talked about this on the show in the past as well, because it's super, super important for you to be effective in your life, whether you are a parent, whether you're a spouse, whether you are a business owner or an employee, but in however you see yourself, whatever role you play, you can't serve from an empty cup. That's what I want to say. And you've probably heard that expression before, but it means basically is that, you can't be going along running on empty. You've got to recharge your batteries, and some types of personalities really, really need to recharge their batteries, and they need to recharge them. Like introverts need alone time to recharge. Extroverts, I think, get recharged in a group. So if you're an extrovert, maybe you need to plan an outing with your friends, and that will recharge your batteries and get your creative juices flowing again. But again, it's about really spending some time getting to know yourself and figuring out how you best flow. What does that look like for you? Because again, we are all unique creatures. We are all unique people. We all have different rhythms, and it's so important to respect your own personal rhythm, and when you can then run your business in a way that's going to honor that, things are going to flow so much more easily when you do that. There's this idea, especially in Western culture, that we have to just go, go, go and get things done, and schedule meetings, and just, this constant push, push, push to get things done, which is a very masculine way of being. And we all have feminine and masculine sides to us. So I'm not like picking on men here. So just so you know. But that's a very masculine way of being. And sometimes we do need to lean into that masculine part of ourselves in order to get stuff done. But don't do it at the expense of your feminine side, that receiving, that side that is more softer and allowing. That's the word I'm looking for. It's about allowing and surrendering to your natural rhythm. And recognizing that failure is not a setback. Like I could have really gotten down on myself from this partnership that didn't work out. I was sad about it for a while, but then I just got back up and went on. And I think really it was a sign from my own inner compass, and from, or maybe the universe was saying that, you could be friends with this person, but they're not a good partner, not a good business partner for you. Because also, I think we were too much alike, frankly. We were both Virgos, and I think we needed more of a contrast. Someone. Yeah, I think that's what it was. I think that was part of it. Even though some of my best friends are Virgos, but I'm not sure that they make necessarily the best business partners. So, although I shouldn't say that either, because I actually have done endeavors with another good friend of mine who is a Virgo. So maybe it was just something else. There was just something else, or just our personalities in general, or what she wanted out of life at the moment and what I wanted out of life at that moment started to clash. And that happens, and that's okay. And you don't have to beat yourself up for that when something like that happens. It's good to recognize and then say, okay, well, you know what? All right, this didn't work out. What else can I do instead? And I would encourage you, especially if you're a regular podcast listener or viewer, even on YouTube, you may have watched last week's or listened to last week's episode with Taoist analyst Gerard Wooters. So if you haven't, I encourage you to go check it out because he actually talks about this very subject, that failure is not a setback. It's a signal instead, offering you an opportunity to reinvent yourself or start over or do things a different way. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So I want to invite you to ask yourself a good question right now. And this I think will help you in trying to figure out then how you can start leaning into your own rhythm, is to ask yourself, what parts of your business are stealing your energy? Is it content creation? Is it balancing your books? Maybe you do QuickBooks and and maybe you are a solo entrepreneur and you're doing everything yourself. So maybe it is doing that, or maybe it's just scheduling social media posts. But what parts of the business are stealing your energy? And once you figure that out, ask yourself why you're letting that happen. Is there a reason? Is it just you weren't aware of it? That could be. Because sometimes, that lovely expression, we don't see the forest for the trees. It could be you didn't even realize it. So this is a good trick. I'm gonna teach you something that I learned from a coach years ago that I think is a really good way to figure this out, is to take a journal or just a piece of paper, or if you want to do it on your computer, whatever, but write down from morning till night, and really even do it. I would do it for like at least your whole business week. So if you work from like Monday to Friday, do this Monday through Friday, and write down from the moment you get up in the morning, write down the time and write down what you do. So if you get up in the morning and you brush your teeth and you wash your face or whatever, you go to the bathroom, we handle that. You say, okay, I get up so for me, it would be like, okay, I get up at 5:00. Go handle the things I need to do in the bathroom. 5:15, feed cats. 5:30, go for a walk. Well, get dressed. And then 5:30, go for a walk. And just track every time you start a new task in your day, write down the time you started it, write down what you do, and then keep going throughout the day. And then after, like 5 days of that, you might even include the weekends too, because that might be an interesting thing to do. In fact, I haven't done this for myself in a very long time, and I think it might be time to do that. Maybe not right now. I'm trying to do a lot of things right now because I'm going to be taking some time off in a few weeks when my son gets married. So I'm trying to do a lot of things early. But anyway, do it for a whole week. Include the weekends. Yeah, what the heck? And see. Oh, and I'm going to add this, not because they didn't have us do this, but I'm going to add this for myself now. I'm going to tell you to do this. Write down not only what you're doing, but what is your emotion like at that moment? Are you just tired because you just got up? Are you excited? Are you feeling, I got to do this job and I'm not in the mood, whatever. But write down your emotions. Yeah, we didn't do that. Good on me. I'm innovating and offering this new way for you to do it. This is probably even a good social media post I'll write about now that I think about it. Anyway, sorry, I digress. So do that and then see, because I think it can be really eye-opening for you to see where are those energy leakages, I'm going to say, where is your time really being spent? And are those activities ones that light you up, or are they ones that are like, oh, I don't want to do this. No, don't make me. Like when you were a kid and you didn't want to go to school. No, mom, don't make me go to school, please. Can I stay home? It's such a nice day out. No. Okay. Now, I want to also ask you a question, is that even without doing that exercise, if you could just run your day without worrying about all of the things you should do, and if you could just ignore the clock, what would your day look like? Would you be stressed out because you're so used to running on the clock? Or would you be able to let yourself get in the flow of things and not obsess about it? Now, of course, granted, there's always some things that need to get done in a given day. But let's say you handled those first and then you just forgot about the clock for the rest of the day and silence your phone. I always silence my phone when I'm recording this because I don't want to be interrupted while I'm recording the podcast. So see how that feels. And I'm going to invite you to feel your feelings right now. In fact, let's just pause, and because I want you to feel what is coming up for you right now as I've been talking about this. Are you feeling anxious? Like, I don't want to do this? No. Or are you feeling excited? Like, yeah, this sounds great. I want to be able to get in the flow. I want to have midlife be an exciting time in my life. I want to grow my business with joy and not dread. So, what I'm going to do right now is something that I love to do on the podcast, and that is to help you to reclaim your voice, reclaim your rhythm. And I'm going to do that by sharing a special message for you, a light language that speaks to your heart, and it speaks to your soul, and it's something that is this is my type of energy. I do Reiki also, but this is really my energy healing that lights me up, and it helps to enhance your clarity and to release blocks. And it's just something that I encourage you to listen to with an open heart and an open mind. And if you were listening to this podcast or watching, well, no, you shouldn't be watching if you're driving a car. Okay, so if you're listening to the podcast while you're driving a car, well, I've been known to listen to YouTube while I'm driving as well. So if you are doing that, I encourage you to pause this for right now and come back to it in a little bit. And I'm trusting that you're back now. So I want you to just make yourself comfortable. Have your feet on the floor. Take a deep breath. Let it out. And if you want, you can close your eyes and set the intention that what you are going to hear will be something that is for your soul's highest good and the highest good of all concerned. And that's what I am setting an intention for as well. And if you want to know more about light language, we'll talk a little bit more after I get done sharing this, and then I'll tell you how you can find out more. Okay. Anahia ke anahe ohonya kayota ke ya hanno kashano shanno kribak shonia kayana kanamando kuchiana kribunga falere totogunga leata sonna kribunga sakuya enai Sakashana Kuyapanama Keata, Salariano Kuriamanancato, Shakayano Kuana and Caleriata, Sonna Crepata, Kianoshi, Tono Kayatoe, Anaka Siatinga, Kaliatokumba Shanka, Koniama Kaliatumba, Koniana Kona Bayotokuyoshana. Poderio no kaya bushinku amane kaya tuma kahina kaya no kaya bana ekaya shokaya mano para ya to kaya bashana kaya be ku amana ne kikale ya tashana kaya manu ke amaku ya yana kam anakaya to e patinga Hashe unkare ya tonga da no mano Annagea Shankuku Ahim Gayanaga Sokashano Koyaba Kuriaba Shonaku Panake Panakaye Panakuyada. So some of you who might be just tuning in are going like, what was that? I get it. I know. First time I heard it, first time I really heard it, it moved me to tears, which is a whole nother story, which I believe I shared in an earlier episode. I think I posted it last year. So you can go search for that. And you can also, if you would like, is that as my gift to you, I offer a free introductory 15-minute light language session where we'll speak specifically to what is going on with you at the moment, because it's so much more effective when if you have something in particular that you really are having a challenge with, and then I can help with that. So it's much more effective that way. So I will have that link in the show notes for you. It's on the screen right now if you're watching it on YouTube. So I encourage you to do that and take advantage of it. Hey, it's free. Who doesn't love free, right? I know, I do. I love free. Okay, so I want to leave you with some last advice. Okay. And that is you're allowed to be messy. You're allowed to stop, to rewrite. You are allowed to yell and still keep showing up for you because you are worthy. You are loved. You are allowed to design your life your way. So be bold, be brave, be seen. The world needs you. And yeah, that's what I want you to know. The world needs you right now. Okay, so before I go, I just also want to remind you about next week's show. So next week, I've got a fabulous interview with a wonderful woman named Diane Olvera. And she is going to talk to us about the art of meaningful connection. And Diane has led an extraordinary life. She's an educator, a former diplomat, and she's author of the book, The Power of Connection: Understanding Individual Differences to Uplift and Empower. So make sure that you are subscribed on your favorite podcast platform or subscribe right on YouTube as well. And this way you'll be notified when the episode comes out, which will be actually next Tuesday. So we always come out on a Tuesday. So I hope you found this useful today. I hope I wasn't rambling too much. I know sometimes I will do that, but I just really want you to know that it's so important to honor yourself in your life and in your business, and to figure out what it is that how you best operate. Yeah, figure out how you best operate and then strive to operate that way every day as much as possible, because it just makes things so much easier. You can wake up in the morning saying, "Oh God, it's another day," instead of, "Oh God, another day," which a past wonderful podcast guest said, and I'm forgetting his name at the moment, but he's a lovely gentleman who's, I don't know, 90 years old or something, or he's definitely in his 80s, and he is as spry as somebody in their 30s, if not more so, frankly. So yeah, you want to greet that day. And that reminded me too. Yes, I rewatched the old movie with the wonderful Robin Williams called Dead Poets Society. I caught that on I think it was on Netflix the other day. Oh, such a good movie. But the running theme through that was carpe diem, seize the day. So that's what I want you to do too, is seize the day and make it spectacular by honoring your natural rhythms. Okay, so I think that's going to do it for this week. All right, so until we meet again next time, I encourage you to go out and live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically.